Good evening, everybody. He is Steve,
And she is Stacy.
and we are here to kick it.
So we are here kicking it live with Steve and Stacy. Actually, you're watching Steve and Stacy live, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. So, hi, Stacy.
Hi. Well,
And how are you today?
I am very good today, making progress. I had my post-op checkup,
Okay.
so my doctor told me that I could put the crutches down, and I could just do it on a cane. I've never used a cane before, and I told my husband that I felt like I needed a four-prong cane, and he said a four-prong cane. So I probably used that cane for a little over a week, but today is my second day being caneless.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm taking it easy. I came up the stairs today.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm doing really good,
Okay.
getting back to who I was before this mishap with my meniscus.
And what would you like to talk about today? Any particular topics or subjects?
Everything. Nothing is off limits with me.
Okay. All right. So,
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm a eternal optimist, so I don't really get down. Every now and then, a little.
That's so
But for the
sweet.
most part, life is too good and too sweet to even waste time
Too good.
being
and too
melancholy
Yes.
and sad and blue.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw your mom outside today with her walking sticks,
Yes.
getting her exercise in.
That's right. That's right. And we all need to do that.
Yes, definitely.
So we touched upon a few things last week when we talked about taking control of your life.
Yes.
And I want to comment and fill in a few of the gaps because we talked about writing things down. I hope people have their pens and paper again. We talked about writing things down, but I never got to talk about gratitude or the attitude of gratitude.
Oh my God, one of the best things in the world.
And it is one of those things that changes your life because it changes how you feel. It changes your emotions. You can't be grateful and be sad.
Period.
So being grateful and expressing gratitude is one of those things that uplifts you, changes your mood, and allows you to be open and receptive. And I also want to point out that when you say thank you, you're receiving something.
Right.
You know, you teach your children when they're very little, someone gives them something, a piece of candy or whatever. What do you say? Thank you.
Right.
Because they received. So every time we receive something, we say thank you. And so every time we say thank you, we are putting ourselves in a position to receive, to be receivers.
Right.
And so as you write down those things that you want to accomplish, write it down and consider being grateful for it. You know, when you talk about it, when you express it, when you read it, give thanks. I'm going to be the next supervisor of whatever store I work at. And I am so thankful. I am so grateful. Thank you to the universe, to God, to whatever you believe in. Be thankful and be grateful. I just had to add that little tidbit because I left it out last week.
I think it's important that you add that because that's really important. I have a daily gratitude journal, you know, and some days I might only write that I was grateful to wake up this morning. I was grateful for my husband fixed me oatmeal. I was grateful that it was nice outside. You know, it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be something small, you know, but just the thought and the action of being grateful for something. That's what's really important. And I just don't feel like enough people are grateful for things. Like, you know, I have a girlfriend and she's living with her mother and her mother's paying all the bills, but her mother needs a little help. But every time her mother asks her for something, she's popping her lips and rolling her eyes and twisting her neck. you know, and
Being
sometimes
ungrateful.
that's really ungrateful.
Right.
You know, and like I told her, do you realize that if it weren't for your mother and her having this house and for her being open enough and willing enough to let you come in and share her home with you, and she was like, but I'm doing so much for her. I'm like, girl, she could pay somebody to do what you're doing for her without all of the attitude. But, you know, some people just don't get it.
Yeah. I look at my life and I am grateful for so many things. I touched upon the fact that I had a great set of parents. My mom and dad were highly intelligent, square as most folks say square as a pool table, but a pool table isn't really square. So we'll say they're square as a cube.
Right.
And that was good because they taught us all the good things, the square things, you know. And when I found myself in prison or went to prison, I looked at squares totally different. I said, I sure wish I had been a square. Maybe I could have circumvented this.
Right.
You know. But I'm grateful for all kinds of things. We met someone, or I just met someone on the way in, and she asked me, did she know me? And I told her that I escaped. And she said, from Ryan prison? I said, no, from Jackson prison. And what a lot of people don't realize is that I had one of the most renowned escapes in prison history.
Period.
Yeah.
Speak on it, Steve.
Okay. And to illustrate my point, I have to go back a ways. I met a deputy warden of housing in maybe 1978, 79. You know, I come to work. I'm working in maintenance on the plumbing crew. I'm a plumber. And these guys were riffling this locker. I come in the building and two guys, they're taking all kind of goodies out of this locker. And by the way they looked at me, I realized that I could get some for nothing. So, you know, I grabbed the box, held the box out. They filled the bags up with goodies, potato chips and cookies and pies and that sort of thing. So I took it back to my unit, came back to work. And when I came back, now there's this other guy, he's raising hell because he was responsible for this stuff. So he's like, man, somebody done broke into my locker, blah, blah, blah. Make a long story short, he tells, which is against the rules in prison. You don't snitch. But he went to the deputy warden, and he told him.
He was one of those.
Well, these three guys broke in my locker, took this stuff, and I have to pay the owner, and I have to pay him double. So the deputy warden calls us three out, and he says, you know, you guys are going to have to pay for these goods, $25 a piece. So being that I didn't steal anything, I'm foolish and young. I'm adamant about not giving him this money. Now, the other two guys capitulated. One of the guys, he was soft, so he paid the $25. The other guy was not soft. He was a solid guy, but the deputy warden was kind of slick.
Right.
When he came in the office, he had his sister on the phone, and unbeknownst, he has a parole.
Right.
So he used the fact that he had a parole and his sister to break him down and get him to pay his $25. Right. Matter of fact, he gave him the phone. His sister's on there crying. Just give him the $25. I've already sent you the money. So when I come in, he's gotten $50. He's looking for this last $25.
Right.
So he says, your two buddies, they've agreed to pay, and I need $25 out of you. I said, I'm not giving you anything, you know. And, you know, I got the lingo down pat. I'm thinking I'm slick. So I told him, I said, look, I'm in here for killing. I ain't in here for stealing. I don't steal.
Right.
Right? So I ain't giving you nothing. He threatens me. I'm going to put you in the hole. He said, matter of fact, I tell you what. He said, I like you, man. He said, you come in here talking like everybody else talking like a mouse. You talk like a man. I like you.
Right.
But I'm going on vacation. And when I get back, if you don't have that money, I'm going to put you in the hole. I said, okay. So this is how me and the deputy warden get cool.
Right.
Fast track. Years later, he's working in Lansing. He's a bigwig now. And they give him another promotion as the deputy warden of Jackson Prison.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Kinross. I'm at a medium security. But when I see that my guy is the deputy warden, I blow Kinross.
Right.
Come back to prison, just because I know I can make something happen with this guy.
Right.
Ends
Shooting
up,
moves.
yeah. Ends up, he finds out that I'm there. He sends officers to get me out of the control center. I don't even have a room yet.
Right.
They bring me in and we hug. He's a short guy, stocky, barrel-chested. He picks me up
Right.
in his office, and I'm looking around. And he said, "This me." I said, "This you?" "Yeah, this me." I was like, "Okay." Right? So he asked, "What can I do for you?"
Right.
And I made some kind of comment. He said, "Look, man, I can get you home."
Period.
And I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I can get you home, man, but you got to do a few things first, and you're going to have to pay this amount of money, et cetera, et cetera." I said, "Okay." I actually ended up paying $10,000 to send me to Western Wayne. The next payment would be $15,000 to get a parole interview and $25,000 to get the actual parole.
Right.
I'm like, bet, let's do this, right?
Let's get it done.
Because remember, I'm adopted by a millionaire.
Exactly.
So it's not a problem. So I pay the $10,000. I get to Western Wayne, and I'm still into the nonsense. So it's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving comes around. There's no dope on the compound. There's no drugs.
Right.
And everybody's, around the holidays, just like in society,
Exactly.
folks want to get high.
Right.
So I ended up getting some cocaine, and I used some myself. Get a dirty urine. So they try to send me back.
Right.
I get a call. It's the deputy warden. And he says, "Look, man, I need to borrow some money. I don't know when I can pay you back, if I can pay you back. Now, this is a squeeze play."
Right.
He's like, "They're going to send you back. You don't really want to come back. I need some more money."
Right.
I'm like, okay. So I come up with a plan. Actually, I go to sleep the second night, and that little light bulb went off above my head. Ding.
Right.
I said, I got him. So I take a newspaper, I take a brown paper bag. I rip it in half. I get a magic marker, and I write these exact words. I can remember verbatim. Dig. You wanted 20. Here's 50. All you got to do is send our man to camp. So I called my adopted father. I said, "Look, put $50,000 in a briefcase. Put this note in there on top. Meet him at a restaurant. Open the briefcase. Let him see the money. Give him the note and leave." That's exactly what he did. So now the deputy warden saw this money. He's like, the hook is in. So what he did was came up with a plan to send me to Western Wayne. To send me to camp. I get to camp. I take off the next morning. That's right. I saw a familiar face. I said, "Man, what's the quickest way out of here? Because I'm doing life. Ain't no sense in me sticking around." He said, "In the visiting room." He said, "You can walk right out the door in the visiting room." So I get on the phone. I talk to my adopted father in code. Tell him the visiting room. He doesn't want to do that. So I said, okay. I put my hand over the phone. "What's the second quickest way?" And the guy says, "There's a blind spot behind this building.
Right.
I'll take you there in the morning. And you can scale this fence and you're gone." I said, okay. I get back on the phone. I tell the old man, "Hey, look, this is how I'm going to do it. Be there." He says, okay. 6:30 the next morning, I make my room look like no one was in there.
Right.
Walk out, scale the fence, and I whistle. I whistle for my ride. No lights come on, no nothing. I'm like, what in the world? I take off in the dark. Anyway, again, I don't want to get the whole story up because it's part of the book.
Right.
But I ended up stealing a perimeter truck. Now, I haven't driven a car in like almost 12 years.
Right.
I steal the perimeter truck, take off, go to Ann Arbor, get on the phone, get me another ride. And so the lady that was in here used to work for the Department of Corrections.
Right.
And knew the story. And she was like, "Oh, that's legend. I didn't know that was you." So that is, but I'm grateful. And the point that I wanted to make was I'm grateful that I escaped because it changed the way I thought. Up until then, I hadn't made any real mistakes in prison. And I rose up in the ranks, so I'm considered one of those popular prisoners, little power, little juice. But after I escaped, I ended up telling on the deputy warden. I actually told a lawyer to contact him, let him know, look, man, they finna come get you. He turned himself in and told everything he knew, which put me in a situation where I don't really have a choice.
Right.
So I go in front of a grand jury. Grand jury says, did you tell your adopted father to give this man $10,000? Yes. But in prison, they hate you when you're in the rankings.
Oh, I know from
And
personal experience.
So this was all they needed, really, to kind of chop me down.
Right.
Nothing ever happened physically, but I lost what little power I had, what little respect I had.
Right.
But I'm grateful that it happened because I found out who my real friends were. And it brought me back down to earth.
Right.
So even though it was a negative situation in one sense, I was glad because I got out. I went to Florida, Hawaii, New York, all in like 42 days,
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
I bet you those were the best 42 days.
It was the nicest 42 days I've had in quite a while.
Period.
Yeah.
Now, that was a story.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more next week.
Absolutely. And you've got a story or two yourself. I was reading a little bit about your book on your phone, I think.
Yeah.
Would you like to share a little of that?
Well, before I get to that, I'm in the process of writing a book on behalf of my sister.
Okay.
Because every year, this was the 5th year, from October 1st through October 31st, I dedicate the whole month to my sister. My sister's birthday is on October 7th.
Okay.
So this being the 5th year, and every year I always say, I'm going to turn every day into a little booklet, and it's like, I don't know, life just starts lifing and, it just gets away from me. So this year, me and my husband went on The Princess thanks to one of my friends, Toya Russell. So anyways, me, Toya, and Tara Young, Mace, were supposed to go on The Princess, but Tara was out the country. And last year we did it because, we went to celebrate Tara's birthday. So this year, me and my husband went and we celebrated Kelly's birthday on Kelly's birthday. So
nice.
you know how they have like the cover band doing Motown. I had the guy to say happy 55th birthday to Kelly, and it was just so sweet. And so this year I really put it into action. So I sent everything to the publisher, and I think I'm gonna call it A Sister's Love because I always hashtag A Sister's Love and I hashtag my Kelly girl.
Okay.
So I really haven't come to the finality of a confirmed title yet.
Well, hashtag A Sister's Love may be perfect.
Yeah, that's
not
what I
just
was
A
saying.
Sister's Love, but put the hashtag in there because it's already recognized.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And it's like every year when I do it, I get so many text messages and so many inboxes. I have people saying, thank you, Stacy. I look forward to this. Some people say, I've been clean for 30 days and this just encourages me. I have some people to say I'm still in the struggle. I have some people to say that they wish they had a sister like me, when they were out there, but all of the comments just really encourage me. But right now, I need to take a break because we need to do the station break. So you're watching Kicking It with Steve and Stacy live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Please like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. So, back to what I was saying. So, I've sent the 31 days to the publisher, and now we're just in the process of designing it. So, like, I always write something before, and I think I'm going to do what I write to the left and the actual addiction recovery quote to the right.
Okay.
And then I'm probably going to add like maybe 1 or 2 pages because I want it to be sort of like a workbook because, like the 1st of October, when you read this quote, you might have some feelings. And, I love journaling. So that's what we're in the process of designing it and doing a cover. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put some photos of me and Kelly, and I'm going to talk about Kelly's life.
Very nice.
But the most heartfelt part of this book is I'm going to dedicate this book to her children and her grandchildren.
Okay.
Because my sister really had it hard, and she struggled a lot with between mental illness and substance abuse issues. She just wasn't able to raise her kids, but she definitely loved all of her kids, and she was just so happy to be a grandmother. So that's definitely what I'm going to do. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, and that's what I'm working on. And yeah.
Yeah, I applaud you for that.
Thank you. So after that, then I'll be an author. Okay. So once I do that, that's when I'm going to come out with my book. So my book is going to be the Stacey Barker story.
Okay.
So everybody can check me out on Instagram at the Stacey Barker story and look a little bit more deeper into my life. I'm on Facebook as well as Stacey Barker, but I feel like I go a little bit more in depth on Instagram than I do on Facebook. So make sure you follow me on Facebook at Stacey Barker and on Instagram at the Stacey Barker story on Instagram. So,
well, I don't know anything about social media,
and I'm gonna get you together on social media. We're gonna work on that.
I just went on Instagram today, and I think I followed everybody I saw. Hoping that they'd follow me in return. I don't know what I'm doing.
We're going to get it together because, a lot of times we don't know what we're doing, but we always manage to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's really important. But you know what I wanted to hit on for a minute? You talked about taking charge of your life. I feel like it's really important that you take charge of your life because that's like so important because if you don't take charge of your life, somebody else will.
That's right.
But before you can take charge of your life, you have to take charge of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's no way possible that you could take charge of your life until you have taken charge of yourself. Right. And that comes with doing a few things, and it's not easy, especially, if you come from circumstances that, were not ideal. But it's just really important. Like earlier we were talking. And I was talking about like my routine. Like when I wake up in the morning, I always wake up maybe like an hour and a half before my husband does. And I always sneak out the bedroom and I go to the family room. And I just take time to make my coffee, get my phone, get my laptop, cut Channel 2 News on, and just reflect. I do a lot of things. I pray. I do my daily affirmations. I just put myself in a positive frame of mind. I like to vibrate high,
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, if you just jump out the bed, go wash your face and brush your teeth and just hit the streets, you haven't even taken time
to reflect.
Yeah.
Yourself, yes.
Definitely to reflect, and just think about things, like in the morning, I think about what I did the day before, and I think about if I had any type of situations that may have been a little funky, think about different ways I could have handled it. But it's just, that's my time, as I watch the sun come up, just to sit down and get my mind together, and I'm telling you, every time I don't do it, something always goes wrong. I'm telling you.
It will. Now, the way I wake up is I wake up giving thanks, and I usually visualize in my head, I see myself spinning around, arms up, arms stretched, and I'm just saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And one of the reasons is because I've made it thus far, but I also have this notion that if I try to be my best self every day, that eventually I'm going to get there. And I found that this is a powerful way to open your mind, to get where you're going, to reinvent yourself if that's what you're trying to do, to become the person you want to be if that's what you want to do. And it kind of goes like this. You see yourself as your best self, you know, whatever that is. And your power, the magic that you have in you as a human being lies in that image, in that imagination, in imagining that person or you being that person. And I'm doodling again one day, so everybody, I hope you're ready. I took the word imagine. You look at the word imagine, and you don't think much. Imagination, powerful thing. But I looked at imagine, and I break the words down. So I take the I, put a little apostrophe there, and the M. Space, the A, another space, the G-I-N, another space, the E. And what do you have? I'm a Gen or I'm a Gen E. Right? Now this is the imagination. And we know that gens are these mythical beings that gave you 3 wishes. If you made the 3 wishes, I think in the myth, the gates of hell would be open, so everybody tried to make 2 wishes and be done with it.
Okay.
Right? But all throughout history, even in the Bible, there's the Jinn. And it's usually spelled J-I-N or D-J-I-N or D-J-I-N-E. Anyway, my point is, when I look at this word, when it's broken down, it's saying that via my imagination, I'm a Jinn. Or I have within me the power and the ability to make any wish come true. Now, of course, we don't want it to come off as a wish, which is why we write it down, to take it from a wish to a goal. And it's easier. But my doodling, like I said, this is what I did for years. I take one word, find out, or break it down and try to discern if it had different meanings. And to me, this meant that everyone in the world who thought about their best self, who imagined themselves as being something other than who they are right now, has a Jinn inside them. And all they have to do is tap into it through the principles that we talked about in the last episode. So I'm behind the walls in these little bitty cells, scrawny little kid from the east side of Detroit. But I don't see myself that way.
Right.
I see myself as this person who's genteel and he can talk and he walks upright and correct. I've never worn my hat crooked, never had gloves in my back pocket. In most East Siders, that's how they carry it. They hat on backwards, a crooked, belt on backwards. You got gloves in your pocket, looking thuggish. And guys used to ask me all the time, man, you're not from the East Side. You must be from the West Side.
Right.
I said, no, I'm from the East Side. This is just how I see myself.
Right.
I don't see myself as a thug. Now, there was a time when I acted thuggish and ignorant. But as I grew, I see myself as somebody that I want to become. And that's it. And I kept my focus there. And gradually, I became, and am still becoming, the person that I want to be,
That's awesome, and that's important that you do that. I remember that I would address everybody by their last name. So it was just constant, Miss So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, Miss So-and-so. And a lot of the new prisoners would ask the older prisoners, why is she calling me by my last name? And the older prisoners would say, that's just her way of showing you respect. And a lot of them would ask me, and I would tell them that, you may have not been respected before you came here. You may not even know what respect truly is. So this is my way, and I'm bestowing respect upon you. So it was just really important for me. And the officers, they would have a good kiki because they thought it was so funny. And, the prisoners would ask the officers, why is she calling me so-and-so, so-and-so? Because, a lot of times people have nicknames. I hate nicknames.
Right.
But I was just like, no, but something else about me, I didn't want to know what nobody was in prison for.
Okay.
I just felt like that's just too much. I already have enough going on in my life with my stuff. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't care. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to hear about it. Like even today, I had to tell one of my friends, I don't want to hear what's going on with your girlfriend. I just don't. And I'm not being mean, but that's what you and her talk about. You know what I'm saying? Her girlfriend, boyfriend is physically abusive. So she's telling me about this. I say, hey, that's too much. You know what I'm saying? I listen to you and your boyfriend. I don't want to hear about your girlfriend and her boyfriend. No, that's just too much. Because I honestly feel like, especially when I'm in my Coach Stacy role, because I want to help everybody. But you have to have boundaries. Because I'm going to tell you, takers don't have any boundaries.
They're going to take.
They're going to take. They're going to keep taking. And they're going to take and take and take until they can't take anymore. Until you're all used up and dried up and they can't take no more from you. Then they're going to find somebody else to take from. So that's why I have to set boundaries. And some people think it's mean and some people think it's funny because I don't call anybody before 9 a.m.
Okay.
My grandmother always told me, don't call nobody before business hours. And like around 9 p.m., I usually cut my phone off.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because around that time, me and my husband, are either having a snack or some dessert or watching Netflix and chilling. And that's me and his time. Because think about it, all day long, I'm answering the phone. I'm helping people.
And speaking of phones, our phone lines will be open in 1 minute at 7:30.
Yes.
So you're watching Kicking It with Steve and Stacy live, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world.
Okay. A few minutes ago, I got really hot. I'm so glad we brought water in this time. But I know that it's not really hot. It's a lot cooler today than it was last week. But this menopause is killing me.
Hot flashes and all that.
Hot flashes. What? I'm talking about. Woo. Yeah. Anyway, so I feel like it's very important that we have boundaries because takers don't have any, and you have to take some time out for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I found as I grew older, I became much more generous. When I was young, I was selfish to the core.
Really?
Oh, my goodness. Everything was about me, 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 me. What I could get, and I didn't think about giving anybody anything.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. But as I grew older, I became generous to a fault. I mean, if you need something and I got it, no problem. And I'm doing very well, and other guys aren't. So,
Right.
They'd look at the outfits and they, hey, man, can I wear that on a visit? I got my mom or my girlfriend will be up next week.
Right.
Sure.
See?
I come out in the visiting room and I see 3 or 4 of my outfits out here. But it was good because these guys are enjoying themselves, having a good time.
Definitely.
And you feel better when you look good. So.
Yeah, I was the exact opposite. I was a giver, but that was because I was a people pleaser because my mother physically abused me. So I had to learn how to be nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I didn't want to make her mad. I didn't want to piss her off because if she was happy and in a good mood, I knew, I wouldn't get it that night. And so I was a people pleaser.
Okay.
So I just gave and gave and gave of myself. And I gave of myself to a fault. And that was pretty bad, and I had to, I'm telling you, that therapy and that AOP was the best thing that ever happened to me. I still love therapy. I just feel like, it just helps me. It grounds me.
It's very necessary.
Definitely to have a professional to talk to, And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I like to give back and help people so much, because I've just been helped so much, even when I didn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, I enjoy helping people. It makes me feel good, and just to see somebody where they didn't have any help, and then I help them, the look in their face, the look in their eyes, it's just a feeling it's an unbelievable feeling. I don't care how many times I do it, it always feels different every time. So
I think the dynamics in men's and women's prisons differ quite a bit. And if you were a lifer in the men's prison, you weren't allowed to do certain things. You couldn't take classes. I didn't get therapy or counseling until it was like time to go home 41 years
really?
later. Absolutely. It's ridiculous. Now you come in and they tell you what you need. I needed impulse control.
Right.
I didn't get it until like the 40th year.
So your whole 40 years, you were just off the chain acting impulsively?
No. I was reading.
Okay.
And learning and coming to understand. And,
so you were doing self-help?
Absolutely.
So think about how many people who don't do self-help.
Right. And
I can't imagine.
And this is one of the reasons why the recidivist rate is so high.
Yes.
Because you are returned to society. You haven't gotten any serious help, any professional help. And you come out here and you basically are unprepared for the changes, for the pace. You get overwhelmed. You don't know how to calm yourself down. Because I still get overwhelmed today. Mm-hmm. It's, that's just one of those things. Yeah. I was, I think we went into Sam's Club one day, and there were just so many people milling about that I said, we got to get the hell out of here. Now I've gotten better. I've gotten better at it as the years have gone. But yeah, and you need help. You need someone to talk to.
Wait, you had to break up out of Sam's Club?
I broke up out of there. And Peggy laughs about it today. She'll comment on it and laugh about it. But it was just, and I used to hear about these stories. Guys say, yes. I'll go into a supermarket.
Yes.
And just the amount, the array of things that they can get just blows their mind. They can't make a choice because there are too many choices.
Right.
But studying myself, reading a lot, meditating, doing yoga, doing all those things to try to become enlightened actually helped me a great deal.
I'm sorry.
And I think I told you that the Social Security Department has me pegged as being totally and permanently disabled.
Really?
Yeah. And they gave me $800 a month, and I was like,
thank you?
No, thank you. I'm going to get a job and do what I got to do because I can't live off. But this is
$800 a month.
$800. What am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
So I actually walked up and down Illinois. I walk down one side. I go into every establishment now. Apply for a job and y'all hiring. No luck on this side. I turn, come back down the other way. No luck until I get to U-Haul.
Right there on 8 Mile near Livernois?
That's it.
Okay.
And Pembroke and Livernois. Yeah.
Right.
So I walk in. I see the manager. Mm-hmm. And I said, are you guys hiring? And she said, yeah. I said, well, I have to preface this with, do you hire ex-felons?
Right.
And she said, yes, we do.
Period.
And she explained to me that she was giving me this opportunity because her husband had done time.
Aww.
And she respected him so much because, she was the assistant manager and he was the manager years ago. Mm-hmm. He had left and started his own little company.
Right.
But she had so much respect for him that she was willing to give me an opportunity.
Right.
And so today she's still like my little sister.
Aww.
Yeah. So I get this job, and then the Social Security Department tells me that I owe them some money.
Ooh.
I'm like, wow, you people are
See?
nuts. But still today, they say that I am permanently and completely disabled because of those 41 years. You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll come in handy when I retire.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe
but,
so.
Yeah, but you have to reject those things.
Yeah,
you know?
you do, definitely. You have to be ready and willing. And this is like one of the main reasons why I started my group before I left. And it was called Believing in Yourself and Being Successful. And I graduated over 600 women out of my group because at that time, the prison, they had stopped doing pre-release. And pre-release was like the first re-entry. And that was to help you, to teach you and, you know, different things that you're going to know when you're released. Because especially if you've been there for a long indeterminate sentence, you definitely need help. That was almost like, it just makes me think about, I was an HIV/AIDS peer educator because so many women came in there HIV positive, and it's so sad. And I felt horrible for them. So when I found out that the Michigan Department of Corrections was paroling them out as they would a person who's HIV negative, I was like, oh no, they need help. They need resources, you know? So the guy who taught me, Harry Simpson, rest in peace, him and Ray Cotton from the Michigan Department of Health.
Okay.
They came in and they did the HIV/AIDS classes for like, I think maybe 15 of us graduated. So I would go over to the intake unit with my little flip chart, you know, and tell them what to do and what not to do and how to stay safe. So then I would call Harry on the phone. At first I told him, I was like, you know, when I come home, I'm going to work for you. And I remember he asked the class, we were laughing, and he was like, didn't you say you had a mandatory life sentence? And I was like, I do. And he looked at the class and they all said, she always says she's going home. Because I did from day one when I got there.
That's right.
I knew I was going home. So I started sending the people who were HIV positive because, you know, they don't want to tell everybody on grounds because you know what general population would do with that type of, you know, crucial information.
That's right.
And I guess I was looked at like a trusted individual because I believe in confidentiality. It's like I know some stuff right now that I'm taking to the grave.
Yes.
But I would link these people up with Harry Simpson, who was the director of CHAG, that was a community health awareness group. And then he branched off and he got his own point of change. So he was like right there on the boulevard between Woodward and John R.
Okay.
And he had this huge building and he just did a lot of great things. So I would direct these people to go to him and he was able to get them resources and, you know, get them medication and just help them. So that was like a really positive part of my life that I was able to do. But going back, you need to prepare yourself. Like, I always had a copy of either Detroit News or the Detroit Free Press. I always either had Ebony or Jet. I always had Vanity Fair. I always had the Rob Report. And then I would talk to the officers. And then I would talk on the phone. You know, I don't want to know, you know, what you're doing. I want to know what's going on out there in America. I will watch between 5 and 7 hours of news a day because I wanted to be relevant. I wanted to be current. I didn't want to come out, you know how the old movies where you come out and you got like, you come out like in the 80s or the 90s, but you got the platform shoes on and the bell bottoms from a different era.
A whole bunch of them boys.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be relevant and I wanted to be current and, you know, I wanted to be on top of it. And my grandmother always told me, you know, my grandmother was an Eastern Star and my grandfather was a Mason. Okay. So my grandmother will always say, a young lady should be able to converse with anybody. And I really took that to heart. You know what I'm saying? And I remember going to etiquette class. I remember going to ballet class. I remember all these little pageants. But more than anything, I remember being able to converse with anybody. So that means I got to be up on world news, political news, entertainment news,
That's
pop
right.
culture, you know what I'm saying? Whatever is going on. Even today, my friends, like I was talking about Britney Spears, and I was like, girl, did you see Britney in that video with those knives, and did you see those dogs running? They was like, who is Britney? And I was like, Britney Spears. And it's like, Stacey, you the only one talk about these stars like you know them. And it's like, yeah, they get a big kick out of that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never once believed that I would die in prison.
Absolutely not.
Not once.
I knew I was.
I never saw it. I never thought it. I never envisioned it. As a matter of fact, I'd walk around and the guys would, the same way they tease you, they would tease me. Because I would come out and I would say this, chirp, chirp. And they'd be like, we coming out the chow hall.
Right.
You know, they silly. And I would chirp, chirp.
Right.
And they was, after a while, they, man, what the hell you doing? I said, that's my car. I'm unlocking it
Right.
or locking it.
Right.
I said, that's what I see him do on TV.
And that was the thing that you did.
That's what I'm going to do, because one day
See what I'm saying?
I'm going to have that thing in my hand, that remote or that key start or whatever they want to call it. The key fob. Now I know what it is. Chirp, chirp.
So now, when you go out to get in your car, you hear that chirp, chirp. Do you laugh?
All the time. Every morning when I come in the house, now, you know,
cool.
I hit the car. And I hit it twice. I don't hit it once. I hit it just like I, chirp, chirp.
Right.
And I think about that going up the stairs into the house.
I think that's amazing.
Well, again, it comes back to visualizing, seeing, believing. What do they say in Think and Grow Rich? Whatever you can conceive and believe, you can achieve.
Period.
You know, that's just the way of the world. And so I conceived myself. I saw myself getting in and out of cars and going into stores and shopping and, you know. And so that's what I got. And it's the same with every person walking the planet. If you have accepted someone else's story, you know, they told you that you're no good or that you're not going to amount to anything. If you accept that and you see that, you conceive it now and you believe it, that's what you're going to get.
You know what? I made a posting the other day. I was just saying that I am not defined by my description. You know, because people can describe you a whole lot of different ways. But it's up to you to know it and to believe it. Because, you know, lately I've been posting that we got 50 more days until 2024. We got 48 more days until 2024. And I guess, you know, a lot of people don't take that to heart and they don't think about it. But me, I'm going to tell you, every new year, and I build up to this because I know what's going to happen and I let people know. If you are not enhancing my life in some way, I am leaving you.
Okay. Now mine goes a little deeper because my birthday is New Year's Eve.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, I am so introspective on that night. I don't want to talk. I don't want to be bothered. I'm in my own little zone.
See?
Because this ending, tomorrow's a brand new beginning.
But a lot of people don't think about it like that. Seriously, it's like I can specifically remember stuff that wasn't working for me in 2022. I left it right there in 2022. Right. When I woke up on January 1st, 2023, I had a whole new attitude. And a lot of my girlfriends is like, girl, how can you just reinvent yourself like that? How can you just change up like that? Because I want to, and I know it's best.
It's called versatility of adjustment.
Period.
And it's what you have to do.
Seriously.
To make it in this world. You have to adjust.
Definitely. It's like I can remember one of the hardest things for me in 2022 was to walk away from an amount of money that a person owed me. And they flat out owed me because I worked for it. And I tried to resolve it. I was like, look, I don't want to take this into 2023. You know, some people's like, oh, Stacey, I wouldn't have walked away from that. but I had to. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just not worth it. I'm not going to keep calling you every day. I'm not going to keep texting you. You know what you owed me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I did.
If it's not working, as you said, let it go.
And seriously, and I had to walk into 2023, and that was a nice little chunk of money because I went to work every day from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But my peace of mind is worth more. And look what's happened to me in the past year.
Yes.
Think about it. You know what I'm saying? I got engaged on December 25th. I got married on February 25th of 2023. Well, I got engaged December 25th of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I got married February 25th of 2023.
2 months later.
2 months later, I honeymooned in Paris from March 5th through March 12th. February, my husband sold his home. February, we bought our forever home. We upgraded our boat. I mean, I'm just talking about blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings.
That's what
because
I'm talking about.
You're brave enough to walk away from stuff. And I don't care what nobody says. You got to walk away from that stuff and leave it alone. You can't keep going back and forth. You got to walk away from it and leave it alone and look towards the future. Because I remember this guy I used to date. His name was Norman Burton. He taught me so much. But one of the best things I feel like he taught me was, one door has to close before another one can open.
That's right.
And I just think about that. You know what I'm saying? I think about that, and it really makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was the Grand Sheik of the Moore Science Temple of America. Probably, I would venture to say, the youngest one ever.
See? Speaking of Mo's, let's give a shout out to Fruit Quay Bay.
Shout out to Quay.
Islam, brother.
Okay, and while I'm at the top, I'm the Grand Sheik, but I realized that the power had gone to my head, and my head had swelled up like a watermelon. So much so that I couldn't even walk straight. I'm talking about I'm leaning to one side or the other.
Why do you act like that?
And one day, an officer did something that he wasn't supposed to do, so they chased him. Because of me, I said something in another language. Matter of fact, we were speaking a language called Gikuyu. And I think I said, Kanyagatuni Wamokanero.
Okay.
And they chased him out of there to the control center. And I knew then that I had lost my mind. I said, my head is swollen. It's too big.
Speaking foreign languages.
I took the fez off. I took the badge off. I took my card, and I turned. I said, look, I'm gone. I'm done. It was like, brother, you can't be serious. But
brother
that's the adjustment that you have to be willing to make. Seriously? Because I saw myself down the line. I said, now, if I continue this in the future, it's going to cause me way more problems than if I give it up now.
Definitely.
And so that's what I did.
So it is 7:50, and we are about to get out of here. But before we leave, I want to invite everybody to the Nation Outside Masquerade Gala at the Godfrey on Michigan Avenue. My best friend, Dr. Ashley Golden, is the statewide director for Nation Outside. But I want everybody to go to nationoutside.org and join us, because we are a movement and we are the future.
Indeed. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, and we'll see you later.
See you later.
See you next week.